Hi guys. It has been a long day. I have been getting everything ready to go to Phoenix, and I wanted to do one last video, and this is going to hit 2 wickets. I have not ever put up a shout out video for my Patreons. They're all here. Surprisingly more of them than I thought there were, actually, to tell you the truth. But, so 2 things we're going to do. We are going to talk about this knife, which is actually amazing. I have always wanted one. Finally got a chance to get my hands on one that it's mine now. This is my knife. It just so happened I lucked out, and I looked at it, and I can only find 3 videos. 3 videos about this knife on the internet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pause real quick. We're gonna have everything set up for the last video of the day, because I didn't put very many videos. I did a couple live feeds, put very many videos out. But we are going to turn around and we are going to look at the Ferrum Forge Knifeworks Gavko collab Mako. Give me just a second, get everything set up, and we will do it. Okay, now that the music's done and the intro's over. So for those of you that do not know, Michael Gavko, and Elliot at Ferrum Forge are really good friends, have been for years. And they have done several collaborations. I can think of, off my head, not going back, I can think of 3 that they've done off the top of my head. They've done the spinner, they've done the Mako, and they did one other one that was more of a smaller knife that they did together as well. And so in 2015, Mike and Elliot got together and they did a collaboration folder based on his Mako custom folders that he makes, which is an amazing knife. And Mike's knives always have got these really interesting, and I broke something out, they always have this really interesting curvature and shape to them that I love. It's one of the things that drew me to this knife. It has that unique downswept feel to it. And so in 2015, they made this. And it was kind of the same deal. Let's see. It was the same deal that they did with the spinner. Now this was just one of the baseline models. This was one of the ones that was one of the ones that Elliot built and went out to like a knife center, I believe. And it was just the baseline, and baseline knife coming out of Ferrum Forge is always a good knife. So these were just the dealer model knives. And so same as with the spinner, Mike did 100, Elliot did 100. And so all of Mike's were done without a finger choil, and all of Elliot's were done with a choil. So I went back, I thought I had done the choil on this, and I went back and I checked and I looked again, and I did not. This had belonged to my friend Pip Corona. That video still has not posted. I have to download it's been long enough ago now that the videos are on the cloud. So I have to download that stuff and edit it together, but that video is coming. So what they did was they took Mike's design of the Mako and they kind of turned it into something different. And there were a couple different scale patterns. This is the one that I wound up with. And so Pip offered me the chance when we came to this that I had done some work for him, and he was like, well, you know, instead of me paying you, do you still want that Mako? I said, I've always wanted a Mako. I would love one. And so I got this in barter. So what you're looking at is full titanium, 20 CV blade. We're gonna turn around so you guys can get a better look out of it. And then when we're done, we're gonna do a shout out for all of my Patreons. So let's get this camera turned around one last time today. Last one today, I promise. And we'll take a good close look at the Ferrum Forge Gavko Mako. So guys, as with all Ferrum Forge knives, they always came in the case with a little dog tag, tells you your manufacturer. So
not anything you guys don't already know. Full titanium construction. These are still the steel screws. I don't have $50 right now to do a upgrade. Hoback rolling detent. Single-sided pivot with the titanium screw. Now, I did the refinish on this when he first got this knife. I did the blast, and I think I retumbled the blade for him, and I haven't cleaned it up yet. I did resharpen it. Pocket clip and everything. I did all this anodizing for him. But, so what you're looking at is a unique, rather unique blade shape. Running on bearings, like I said, Hoback rolling detent set in the lock bar insert, 20 CV blade. This was one of the first knives that Elliot did that had a really thin edge profile. And I mean, it's really thin, which is typical of Gavko knives. Gavko, Mike likes thinner blades, and I'm going to tell you, this thing gets ridiculous sharp, just like my Gavko Ferrum Forge Collab spinner. So there were a couple of different design patterns on the scales. I have the one with the arches, or the curved lines, which I like. Of the two patterns, this would be the one I would have that I preferred. Nice harpoon shaped blade with almost a reverse tanto, but a kind of a modified Warncliffe style blade. It's got a little bit of belly, but it's still fairly straight. Beautiful action, just like you would expect from a Ferrum Forge. Beautiful action, almost drop shut closed. Flipping action's perfect. Rides on bearings, detent is perfect no matter how you want to flip it. Finger flip, it does have the aperture. But the thing is, the way this feels in your hand, it's just about perfect. Now, I've done a lot of cutting with it here recently. It does cut really well. It is nice thick blade stock that tapers really well to a very, very, very acute edge. Very thin piercing point, but there's enough material behind it that it's supported fairly well. As always, I love a good bent clip. Elliot's designs are always good. Solid detent. So we're not gonna really just try to kill and beat a dead horse with this. This is because I used the Vinev Diamond Stones. It left a black line of residue on it that a little bit of acetone will take out. What else will do it is also an eraser. I've noticed that they leave a black line on the blast and tumble. So these were really, really amazing knives when they came out. They still are. But like I said, only 3 videos that I could find on that. And like I said, when you look at knives that really appeal to me, they have this downswept shape to them. It's really comfortable. So when you're cutting, there's like no, you don't get a lot of fatigue because it's really downswept and it's comfortable. It sits in your hand real comfortable, and it's cut out. Now they are drastically different than the actual Mako, and I don't have any images of the Mako to show you. I'm not going to go and I'm not going to do it. You know, this is the 3rd video for the day. What we're going to do is, there it is. The Gavko Ferrum Forge Collab Mako. I just want to do a video on it because there's not very many of them out there, and there's not too many of these knives out there, folks. There's only 200 of them, and I'm lucky enough now to have one. So just wanted to take a good hard look at it. I think this is going to get refinished. This was the color scheme that Pip wanted. I think this is going to get a different color scheme. I'm thinking that it might wind up with a black and green color scheme. Black down in here, green on top. So I'm getting notifications that somebody doesn't like one of my videos. I was talking about Emerson's, saying if I don't understand a product, I shouldn't knock it. I understand the product, I just don't like it. So I think I'm going to try and just black this and then tumble the crap out of it and see if I can keep the black down in here and then do green back again on it. And then maybe do the blade black. But we'll see. That's a nice thing.
Like I said, that is the nice thing about high-end knives, especially like titanium and things like that. And now that I've learned how to do it, I don't think of knives like this so much as a canvas anymore that you can do things on. They're more like a whiteboard. You just wipe it off, start all over, because they'll last. They're not gonna, you know, they're not something that you're gonna screw up. You can always just take the anodizing off, start over. So, guys, that's it on the knife. So now what we're gonna do, we are gonna do a shout out to all my Patreons. I've been saying I was gonna do it forever. I have a few of them. Most of them are people that donate more than just $1. A lot of these guys are donating $5 to $10. I didn't put anything. I don't want this to be a preferential thing. I appreciate all of the contribution by everyone on here. So we're gonna start it in the order that it was shown in the listing. So I have Brian Lloyd, Caleb Simmons, Charles Anderson, Mr. Anderson, Cody Moore, what's up Air Force, Dan Swaney, David Langston, Dennis Purvat, I think I'm pronouncing, some of these I'm going to screw up, I'm pretty sure, Devin Bonsevert, Eric Jacobson, Eric Stark, I think they're in alphabetical order, that's the way it's looking to me, George Shaw is a guy that I've done a bunch of stuff for, actually sold some knives for, all those knives that were up for sale, those were George's knives. Ian Kitagawa, Ian's in Hawaii, I haven't talked to him, I need to find out how he's doing with all the volcano stuff that's going on. Jeremy Morris. Jeremy, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate for all the stuff you've done besides just the Patreon. Jose Aragon, I'm pronouncing that wrong, but thanks, Jose. Joshua, this is my buddy Josh, he's still in the Navy. Lock 4RY, I don't know how you want to pronounce that. Nick Rogers, Nick showed up at the little get-together I had down here. Peter Bonsignore, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he'll tell me I'm wrong. Philip DeTori. Philip, I just did a bunch of knives for Phil. He's a pretty good guy. Plastered Pear. Plastered Pear was one of my very first Patreons. He's been around for a while. And then we have Quixoto Tales. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Robbie. SJN Thesis. I don't know how you pronounce that. Some of you guys have got some weird handles on your stuff. Vanderi and Vinny Nero. That is all of my Patreons right now. And the fact is that I have any, I find awesome. That there are people that are willing to pay to help me with the content. And the thing is, that's what paid for Canopy. The original workbench, the original payment for the workbench was I saved Patreon money up a couple times. The gimbal that we use, the tripod that I'm currently using, all of the things that I'm using to make this channel better, and the knife that's coming hopefully soon was purchased with Patreon funds. I actually purchased the Bob Trezula Mass Drop knife that's coming out of Wii. I've met Bob a few times. Bob is an awesome guy. He's here local. I really want to go up and see Bob. I just have not had time. I've told him a few times I want to go up and see him. He does not want to do a video. That's his choice. But I do want to go up and see Bob, and I'll get some pictures and I'll throw them in though. But you know, there's stuff that's coming to the channel and things that we use for the channel. The light that I use for sharpening at night and for shooting videos after dark, that is a direct result of these guys that give me right now just about $150 a month. And I had a couple people that told me, it's like, look, I have to drop out. It had been about $100. We had been right about $200, and then I had a couple people, financial hardships. I get it. I'm going through them too. Drop out and had to drop out, and so we're back down to about $150 per month that I'm getting for Patreon that I'm using for things like this to support the channel. That's how we get these things that you see me put on the channel and things like that. And that's how I can afford to do things like I'm saving up money right now. The plan is we're going to Blade Show West up north. So that's the plan. I don't know financially if it's actually going to happen, but I'm hoping. But it is going to pay for the trip to the California Custom Show in Anaheim. So all these things that you guys, the Patreons, that people like, oh, here we go with the e-begging. Shut up, because the content that happens on this channel, a lot of the stuff and the way that things have gotten better is because these people right here. So cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Matter of fact, Patreons bought these. My daughter has one, I have one. I have not gotten to do a review of these yet because I really wanted to carry them for a while and I just keep forgetting to do it. They are amazing little flashlights. That's it, guys. Last video before I leave. I wanted to get a bunch of content up because I am going to be busy next week. There's a bunch of stuff showing up. I have like 7 knives coming. I have a bunch of stuff coming from my friend Bob and some other stuff that I'm going to do. And I have paperwork and things that I have to do for the business. So outside of that, you guys have a great weekend. No more live feeds. Nothing will be coming until next week. So you guys take it easy. Take care of yourselves. Be good to yourselves. Be cool to everybody. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Didn't work. The remote didn't work. It let me down. I have to push the button myself.